shy away, not to apologize, but in love, tell his congregation what they need to do in order to help preserve the freedom that we've enjoyed for the last 2 centuries.
Man, I want to stress, and I kind of started the program saying this, and I want to come back to this. The political activism that resulted from Brother Don's conviction wasn't a substitute for spiritual discernment.
Yeah.
The political activism didn't serve as a substitute. Listen to what I'm saying here. It wasn't a substitute for spiritual discernment. The political activism was the result of the spiritual discernment. Right? It was, here is what is happening. Here is where they desire to take our country. So we've got to stand between them, right? We've got to stand between them and their wicked and evil desires. And what is the way that the Lord has afforded us to do that in this nation? Well, it is to be politically active. This is not a substitute for spiritual discernment. This is not a substitute for depending on the Lord and seeing him as our source. This is a response to the one who is our source. This is a response to the one on whom we do depend, who opens our eyes. He opens our eyes so that we can see where people are calculating that they want to go. And that is what Brother Don did. He was able to see, okay, so if they start doing this, this ultimately is where they want to go. This is where it starts, but here's where they want to end up. Man, there's a clip of Brother Don debating and talking about the trash that's on television. And there is one gentleman who is saying, this is like this is a book burning. You want to shut down, intellectual property and all of these things. And then he says, he goes, if you got one TV show out of 5, that ought to be enough. And Brother Don almost comes out of his chair and he says, no. He goes, 5 out of 5. It should be 5. And that's why when people are like, why do you get so loud? I'm like, look. I feel like, David, is there not a cause? I mean, is there not a reason for us to care about what is happening in this country and look at where, and my goodness, that was decades ago. Look at where we are now, even more so.
And that's the amazing thing, too, to see the things that Brother Don was talking about, and others, too, like I think about Dr. Dobson. I've read some of his things on the show, and Brother Don, the things that they talked about back then in the 70s, 80s, and where we are now, they were saying this stuff was coming if we didn't stop it. And, and look what we talk about each and every day.
Exactly right.
It's
exactly
amazing.
right. I want to pause for a second. I want to reset and give the number, and then I want to go into some content to make the point of how when we talk about where we ultimately are headed in our country, and people say we're crazy, now when you pull out the modern news stories, you're like, do you still think we're crazy? But before I do that, let me just get back to on track here, because we're fundraising. We are asking you to help us keep doing what we're doing. Shout out to the brother who said that he gave during Bishop Jackson's show because of the $200 add-on. He said if we did a $200 add-on, he'd give again. Listen, brother, okay? Would you settle for a piece of salmon? How about some wonderful, 877. I don't want to have too much fun with our listeners. I really do enjoy what we get to do every day. And even, again, intense conversations we have to have and really call believers to the front lines. But we also get to laugh a lot and live life. We get your emails. We learn about your families, the things that you share with us. And we appreciate that. So we don't take that for granted at all. Help us continue doing what we're doing. 877-616-2396. If you find that this is good soil, if you believe that your resources will be used well and used for the glory of God, we're asking you to continue funding this ministry. If you've not funded the ministry before, in the past, ever, maybe this is the time. Pray about that and see if this is something that the Lord would have you to do. The aim here is, one, to glorify God, to tell the truth about who he is until he calls us home or he returns, whichever comes first. We will continue to be faithful to the Lord Jesus Christ. When you are captured by Jesus, it's really not optional. You know what I mean? Like when you know the Lord, it's really not optional. And so because of your faithful giving, we don't have to run our commentary through, the powers that be. You understand what I'm saying? We don't have to go through governmental entities to determine whether or not what we say passed the test. And it is because because we own these microphones, and it's because of your sacrificial giving that we own these microphones, and we can bring to you the kind of content that has been a blessing to you and to your family. So we are asking you to continue helping us do that. Here's the number: 877-616-2396, 877-616-2396. You can also give online at afr.net. Thanks so much to our sister Cynthia, who said that she's going to call in again right now. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Who else? Where you at? Who else? Where you at? My goodness. In time, look, years down the line, if you will be a long time listener, as so many AFR listeners are, years down the line, you'll say, "Hey, Miki, you remember that spring share-a-thon in 2023, I think it was?" You'll forget. So you'll say 2021, 22, I don't know. And then I'll say 23, okay? By God's grace. You'll say, how many calls did come in during Bishop Jackson's show? That's the question. Okay, that is the question. And so when you meet me on the streets, all right, that's when I'll tell you. But just know, I mean, incredible, right?
They may ask you at the conference.
Rumor has it that one of the co-hosts following that program didn't want to go on air. I mean, we're just like, what are we here for? Let's all just go home. We can shut down Sherathon just on that one show alone. What are we here for? 877-616. It's Cindy 877-616-2396. Thank you for responding. By the way, I am 95% joking. I strive for accuracy here. The other 5% is purely competitive. Like, what? But 95% of me recognizes that all of the giving to this ministry goes to help us all across the network do what we're doing. So we really do appreciate you. There is that 5% of me that says, but hey, during this program, 877-616-2396, 877-616-2396. The Lord will lead you when it's time for you to give.
Somebody said, Walker said it was about, and he gave the calls. The normal is like 300 or 400.
Oh, wait, Walker already told the number?
He must have already said.
Walker told the number?
It seemed like it.
I just need to know for sure. Walker told the number? Because if we can talk actual numbers, then I just didn't know. I didn't know if it was, I thought it was like, uncouth to talk actual numbers of calls that came in during Bishop Jackson's show. Why don't people ever get accused of being couth? Why is it always uncouth?
Yeah.
Uncouth. Anyway, yeah, well, so if we're...
it's out there.
Here we go.
It's on Facebook.
Okay, great. 900 calls came in.
That's amazing.
During Bishop Jackson's show.
Where's my applause button? That's like...
I don't know. Find it. Because
amazing.
That right there is just incredible. 900 calls came in during Bishop Jackson's show. It's okay now. It's too late. Oh,
I got it. Don't tell me it's too late.
I'm sorry.
It's not too late. It's for Bishop Jackson, man. Awesome. All right. That's enough.
That's great. And I want Bishop Jackson to know this too. Okay? Let it be known that applause is not the Nancy Pelosi tiny cloud applause. It's not the that she did behind President Trump. It's not it's really like it's like big game winning score winning applause.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Moving on. 877-616-2396. 877-616-2396. Before we go, I think we have at least time for one more founder's memory that we can maybe squeeze in. Do we have time for that, Will Grace?
See, sure. Let's try here.
This was full-time effort from day one. 16, 17 hours a day. Nearly about 7 days a week. I had to do everything myself. And work has never bothered me. I don't mind working. Working sometimes is good therapy. And I went, I guess, 2.5 years before I had any help at all. Did everything myself. Traveled a good bit. congregation, the ministry, out of our dining room with a desk and a phone and a small offset press, which I bought with my own funds when I began this because I knew that I would be needing one. So it was basically for 2.5 years. It was a one-man job.
It's commitment.
Wow.
That's the kind of commitment. And my goodness, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for Brother Don. And I've said this in Sherathon's past. I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to work for him as well, and to be able to know him and to know his work ethic. I'm grateful for the stories of being able to have the lights turned off while I was in the office, and you know what I mean, just to save electricity. If you're, you know, not knowing that someone was in there. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for him walking in and saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing today." You know, "Hey, we're working on this. You're doing that." You know, it's just, man, just to have vision. I'm truly grateful for that. I'm truly grateful that vision continues today by the incredible grace of God. You can help be a part of it by 877-616-2396. Until tomorrow, Lord willing.
God bless.